Good evening. I'll now call the City of Cannon Falls City Council meeting for Tuesday, December the 18th to order. Roll call.
Councilmember Duncan.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Holst.
Here.
Johnson. Here. Mattson.
Here.
McCusker.
Yes.
And Mayor Robinson.
Here. All please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then please keep standing afterwards. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody would remain standing. With the events that happened last Friday in Connecticut, at this time I'd like to have just a short moment of silence for the folks that lost loved ones and for the people of Newtown, Connecticut. Thank you. At this time, the chair will take a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. We'll move on to item 5, which is the public input this evening. Citizens may speak to items not on the agenda. Before speaking, please give your name and address for the minutes, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And at this time, since I don't think there's a lot of public input, I have the superintendent of Cannon Falls Schools, Beth Geese here, would like to address the council on a few things. Just so everybody knows, I did call Chief McCormick Monday morning and have him get in contact with the superintendent and the school board to offer the city's assistance with going over procedures and policies that are in place at the school to make sure that we do keep our children and our citizens safe in the city. So I know the chief has done that, and the school was receptive, and we look forward to working with them on other things. So that's good. Beth?
Thank you so much, Mayor. I appreciate you all letting me come tonight kind of on short notice. I know that I'm not on the agenda, so I'll keep it brief. My name is Beth Geese. I'm the superintendent of Cannon Falls Schools. I think everyone in this room knows that. My address is 205 Evergreen Drive, Cannon Falls, Minnesota. I'm here tonight for a request. But before I go ahead with that request, I would like you to all think of the answer to this question. How many police officers would you have for a town of 1,400? I have 1,200 students that walk through the classrooms doors each and every day at our school, and we employ 216 staff members. So I do have a town of 1,400 each and every day that's at our facilities. I've been a member of this community for over 12 years. I love living here and raising my 2 children in this beautiful and safe town. I feel in the last 2 years as superintendent, I have built a strong relationship with the chief of police, his crew, the city, and now the Mayo Clinic as well. This relationship is what brings me here tonight. I want us all to work together on a project. Last Wednesday, the city EMTs, the police department, the hospital, and the school all came together to do a live shooter drill. Never in our wildest dreams would we think that a tragedy would follow so closely. We have practiced fire and weather drills. We have practiced code red and code blue drills over and over and over again. Our youngest children know these drills and know exactly what they mean and how to take them seriously. I cannot thank Chief McCormick enough for his dedication to making my school the safest place any of us could ever be during the school day. This year, we even started a program that day officers eat lunch once a week at the school. This again is an effort to make our school safe and join forces with the city and the school. So yes, I am here tonight to ask for help. I think I have secured some funding for a school liaison. I would need matching funds to make this a reality. I'm not going to get into any of the details tonight, but rather wanted to start this conversation. If this is something you cannot do financially, I sincerely understand. The school is in the same situation you are. I have a list of goals and responsibilities that I see in a school liaison. I will pass those out to all of you. I want you to know I started working on this far before the shooting in Connecticut. these funds have taken quite some time to secure. I am dedicated to making this school the best that it can be, not just for safety, but for all the other attributes that a liaison can bring to the school. In closing, I would just like to say thank you so very, very much for Dave Maroney, Chief McCormick, and Aaron Reeves. In the past 2 years, they have continued to make this town a better place to be and continue to work with the school, even with my craziest of requests. They never seem to laugh at me. They always say, there's Beth with another idea. So I'm not here requesting anything. I want you to know where I'm at in this process. I'm really excited. Towns like Cannon Falls don't get these grants. They don't get this funding because we don't have a large enough free and reduced population at our school, or maybe a crime rate that's high enough. So the amount that I'm getting is small, but it's substantial. It's something we can use towards this. And again, I want everyone to know that I started this process way before what happened last Friday. If you have any questions, brief questions, I don't want to take up much time, about our procedures at the school, we are well beyond what the state requires as far as drills and things go. We also have outside entities that come in and do tests. They test the kids. They randomly pick 15 kids and 15 staff members, and they have to know the answers to the questions. We are one of the very few schools that passed all 15. Even the youngest of kids knew exactly what to do in those codes. You know, I'm open for questions if you have any. I know this is kind of the public input point, so I won't take up much more time. But I thought it's important to start this conversation so I don't come to you and kind of blindside you. And I understand your budget. I know you understand mine. And I think that's been the neatest thing this year is how we've worked together in kind of understanding where the city and the school are at. So just want to thank you for everything.
I'd like to say a few things, Beth. First of all, thank you. Thank you very much. You know, this thing just I think hit everybody like a rock. I thought about it over the weekend, and I thought back to the 60s when President Kennedy was shot, and Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King. And of course that was one thing, but this was kids this time. And the first thing I thought of thinking about this the other night is we know your budget situation, we know the referendum situation, we know the state is holding money back and doing different things. And I couldn't help but think about this situation and thought, wow, if there's ever a time for the city and the school to work together, they're both so important to our town. I thought this is the time. So I'm so amazed that you're here tonight. But I would like to tell you a little bit of story about this, how things come back in your life's experiences. In the late 70s or 80s, a friend of mine sold his place here in Cannon Falls and went to northern Minnesota. And I seen him, got together about a year later and asked how things were going. He said the resort was going good up there, and but he said, I also signed up to be a truant's officer at the school up there. And at the time, I grew up in Vesa, and we didn't have this kind of thing, and I said, what in the heck is a truant's officer? He said, well, I stand at the door when the kids come to school. And he said, if there's a little fight going on, I go straight it out. He said, if there's somebody bullying or something going on, I take them both to the office, get a hold of the parents. We talk about it. And he said, probably one of the most important things is that I stand there and the kids know I care. And if they got something they need to talk to me about, then he said that gets to be a challenge sometimes too, whether how important it is, I can just let it go, or if I have to follow up. So that was my first thing I heard of a truant's officer. The first thing I thought of when I listened to all this on TV is him. About that, if we shouldn't be doing that more. I also thought that in this day and age of guns and violence and stuff, we can't seem to change it, we can't seem to stop it, so what can we do to prevent it? I thought this is something that everybody's cutting their budgets. The city is cutting the budget on the police department. You have to cut your budgets up there. And I keep thinking about how far do we go with this? How far does it get to the point where we're cutting money someplace that we should be spending it? I also thought about your activities up at school up there, that there shouldn't be only be a truants officer for the school days. There should be a truants officer at the activities we're having at the school. I think it's a very important thing. Part of the reason it hits me so hard is in my business I go out in service calls, and I see a lot of things out there in families that people can't imagine or don't see. I can give you a little example of in the last year I was on one call, and in order to get to the basement to fix the furnace, I had to get by probably $1,000 gun cabinet. I just stood there and looked at that. I could see poverty all over that place. And I thought to myself, wow, that is so sad that somebody feels that insecure. And I just stood there and thought about, I don't know how many $1,000 worth of guns are inside that thing too. I do remember the kids that were of an age like from about 2 to 4. I do remember them standing back and just kind of looking at me like this stranger in their house. I remember talking to them and getting their names to validate them and make sure that I knew them and I cared about them. The other funny thing was about the call is that when I came up out of the stairway, I bumped something on top of the safe, and bullets flew all over. So I made sure to get the bullets cleaned up and get them back on top of the safe. But I stood there and I wondered, wow, if you got the safe and you got everything, why aren't the bullets inside? I'm just telling you the story not to pass judgment on people, but there's a lot of stuff out there that I don't understand and I never will. But I do know that our schools, we have to make safe. And what that answer is, if there's ever a better time, it's right now. I've had people say to me in the last couple days that this isn't the time to deal with it. The emotions are too high and stuff right now. Well, if this isn't the right time, I don't know when there is a good time.
Right, and that is why I questioned coming in tonight. This has been obviously something I've been working on, and obviously this isn't the first live shooter drill we've had. I know the police department used our buildings back in February. None of this is new. And what I've been telling the parents that have been calling me is, I can't think of a safer place for our kids to be. I want my own 2 children that go to the elementary school to be in our buildings. I want them to ride our school buses. They are the safest place for our kids to be. I feel very, very safe at our school. I don't think that's the question here. I think it's about all of the other things that go along with a liaison. Chemical use is down, teen pregnancy is down, all of that is down because of connections with these kids. When I hired the new principal, the first thing I said to him is, I want you to know every student's name by the end of the first month. The students know I care about them because I know their names, and I do have to study the kindergartners that come in every year, and they all look the same, believe me, little cute blonde pigtails. They do look a lot alike. It's important to have those connections that you're referring to, and that's why I think our school stands out. Our school stands out because we're above and beyond the safety procedures that we have to have in place. Not because we're told to, not because we're mandated, because we want to. Our staff is so dedicated. I mean, you won't find another staff that has so many people from their hometown and things they're proud of. Things that we do for free here that every other school pays for. We've got advisors that want to be with these kids and do it for free, and I could go on and on. I could talk about the school all night. I hear what you're saying. I just want you to know, yes, those situations happen when you go into homes. We don't see that in our school. I don't see unsafe things. I'm really fortunate for that. We make sure they have clothing and hats and mittens, and they're safe that way. But we're very fortunate. We don't see those things you do on maybe a service call. So,
the other thing I wanted to point out is it's not only the students. If our teachers don't feel safe, that's very important too. When you get in these situations and the kids are coming there to be safe and the teachers are coming there to be safe, it's very important for us to do whatever we can to make that happen. So I just think it's so ironic sometimes how life goes of learning about a truant's officer
Sure.
at 25 years old, and how it comes back to today to come back into the story of things again. The other thing I wanted to just mention quick was last spring we had a young person that committed suicide over bowling, and Jeff and I met together, and I asked him what we're doing about that with our school. And you emphasized that tonight, which made me feel really good, that Jeff made the comment that this is being addressed, and we are talking to our school, and we are concerned about it, and we are working together. So I just want to say thank you for the good things you do that nobody ever thanks you for, and that, yeah, whatever we can do to make it better, I'm sure everybody up here wants to do what we can to work with you.
And you do support me. I mean, when I call Aaron for some crazy thing to let me use Mike Gesme for something, he's like, you got it. When I call Chief, you got it. Anything I have needed, your city employees have bent over backwards to help me. We work on housing initiative together. I didn't have quite enough funding for that. We worked out a few things with the housing initiative. Dave was a part of that. Brenda and I have done chili feeds together for the United Way. I mean, I'm really connected with the city personnel here. If Justin doesn't open his doors soon, I'm going to go crazy with kids not being able to get books. But other than that, I like most of the people here. So just kidding, Justin, of course. But any other questions? I don't want to take up too much time.
I mean, I'd like to, have the city look into it and see what might be able to be done, and, not only from the city, but maybe even the county, to see if there's funds there, or if they have, what we could work out as a community. And
Just want to get that conversation going. That's why I'm here tonight.
Is that grant just for a police liaison? A city policeman, or was it private? Could it be used for private?
It can be used in a multitude of ways. The grant originally started for people to get security cameras and things like that in their schools, which we already have. So there's been some extensions. There's also difficulties with the grant. It's a 1 year. It's not very sustainable. But I'm trying to work through, I also have a lot of military connections. 12 years in the reserves kind of gives you those connections with people. I've got some people that would like to donate time. So if we could match time with dollars, if the city was able to help out with coordinating, Chief does send his night crew up through our evening events, so I feel like our evening events are covered quite well. They at least do walkthroughs and things like that. The presence is there, so I'm very appreciative of that. But the grant is really flexible in a lot of things. I didn't think I could get anything because of the problems I told you earlier. We're considered a very nice town, so we don't qualify for a lot of things. But if I can get matching funds through some different entities, I think I can pull this off.
Well, I like the idea of a liaison officer, and it's one of the reasons I also like a generous general fund that the city keeps up at a high level, because you can always use some funds for these things which you think are important, and that's what it's there for. It's good.
And even if we could get it for 1 year, if that's something we could get paid for the 1 year, we could take what we like from the program and try to sustain that, and maybe not the entire program. But I do want to put that out there. It is just a 1 year situation, but I really think, we obviously don't need the 3 months in the summer, so that's 3 months we could add on to the following year. I think we could do some creative things, so.
No, thank you for bringing that up. It's a good idea, I think.
Sure. Thank you, everyone, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else that wishes to address the council for the public input? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Items of this area of the agenda may be adopted, or they may be removed and placed on the business area of the agenda for discussion purposes before approving. For those folks at home, I will read the consent agenda. Item A is the just and correct claims for the accounting period ending December the 14th, 2012. Item B, the meeting minutes for the December the 4th, 2012 City Council meeting. Item C, the new library project change order request. Item D, health insurance change. Item E, cable franchise renewal audit results and request for second audit. Item F, application for payment number 4 to the library construction project. Item G, application for payment number 5 for the library construction project. Item H, the LELS union agreement. And item I, which is the resolution 1995 accepting a donation from the Cannon Falls Football Booster Club. Are there any items anybody wishes to bring down?
E.
Was it?
E.
And C.
C and E. Item C will now become item 7A. And item E, you said?
E, yeah.
And item E will become item 7B. And reports will move down to 8, and adjournment will be item 9. Anybody else want to bring anything else down? If not, the chair will take a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted, minus items C and E, which have been moved down to council business.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Merle, second by Bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. So that brings us to item 7A, which will be the new library project change request order.
Yes. Aaron, another change order for the library. Am I surprised or am I not surprised?
Well, these aren't necessarily things that were in our control. You know, they started digging into the site, and there's an old foundation underneath the other
No, I
one.
was thinking of the switch,
The handicap door opener would be the one that's within our control. It was initially in the project budget, it got pulled out, and then now that we're getting further into it, and we haven't used a large portion of that contingency, we thought for the price, it'd be a good idea just to do it now and get it included back in. So-
here's the thing. The wicked little secrets of any project are in the change orders that you get on. And we seem to be getting quite a few. I mean, shouldn't this have been foreseen by the people who were?
It was in the original one, but if you remember, the project was coming in higher than we thought. So we were doing everything we can to try to get those costs down, get it as low as possible to, keep it moving forward. So this was one of those little items that was, is it necessary? No. But is it a good idea? Yes. So it got pulled out early. We waited, and part of the conversation with some of those was let's see as the project wraps up where we stand with it. We're going to be, we're not going to be using up that contingency. I think it was a 65,000 contingency. I think we've used maybe 20,000, a little less than that so far. So we don't see any other things really coming out of that. We've had change orders within the project that have actually lowered some of the costs of things. So it was just at this time we figured, well, it's a good time to do it. Well,
I'm not against doing it.
done, so that's why.
I'm not
So it
against
was-
doing it.
No, it was in there originally. We pulled it as a way to try to get the costs down, assuming that sometime in the future we'd budget to do it, put it back in. But now that we're getting towards the end of the project, we think we can fit it in.
Well, there's two items.
Okay.
The first is the idea of contingency fund. I'm glad we have that contingency fund. I'd rather not spend it if we didn't have to, though. I don't like to spend anything we don't have to. The second thing is, in future contracts, isn't there an obligation when you have a contract with a professional that you make the contract with, whoever it is, that they should foresee some circumstances, and if they don't, if there's an error in the future in a contract and there is a change order, shouldn't there be some sort of clause that there's a shared responsibility for the cost, perhaps? If you can negotiate that cost instead of just saying automatically, yeah, we'll take it out of contingency funds.
Well, I mean, in our agreement right now, if there was something that was negligent that SEH didn't include in their plans.
Not negligent necessarily.
Well, but if
yeah.
you forget something,
Right.
it should be there,
Right.
say by law or by code, then yeah, we would not be charged for it. SEH would take that cost.
Okay.
But these aren't things that fall into that. I mean, these aren't things that were negligent, were left out, that should be obvious, that should be known, should be used. I mean, these are all items that either unforeseen or they're additions as the project goes on that, well, maybe this would be nice. And now that we're, further along, we're not running into a lot of problems, we've got some money, should we do it? That's where these are. That's what these fall into.
I wonder how many more are coming, though.
Hopefully not many. They're almost done now.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, Chair will take a motion to approve the change order request as presented.
I will second that.
A motion by Merle, second by Bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved. Moves us on to item 7B, which is the cable franchise renewal audit results and request for second audit. Leroy, you brought that down?
Yeah, Aaron, what does the second audit mean? Are we going to do another audit?
Yep. Well, we wanted, when they did the initial one, the recommendation is just pick kind of a few years to see if they made mistakes or not. If they've made mistakes, then it might be more worthwhile to open it up to other years. You hate to pay them to do a full audit, and then it comes back that there really weren't any mistakes, and you're out that whole audit cost. We did the audit, we found mistakes, so we know that there's more mistakes out there. So that's what the recommendation is now let's do the other years that we can do. Legally, we can only go back so far.
How
After that,
far back can we go?
what we're doing here.
Okay.
So 2006 is as far back as we can go. Anything beyond that, we're not allowed, we can't go back anymore. We can't go back any further to recoup costs.
And we haven't done this audit thing before, or is this the
Nope.
first time we've done it?
First time we've done it, yep.
And basically, for how long was that $5,000 error found? Is
That
that
was-
for 1 year?
No, 3 years.
3 years?
7, 8, 9.
It's over 6,000 actually.
Right.
So that was over 7, 8, 9.
And attorney fees were how much on this?
4,000. So we made about 2,400 out of total. Out of
And we're not gonna lose anything on it.
No, and we won't lose anything on this next one either because they'll find more
Right.
than that. It's just, it's kind of what it is. And really the bigger part of it is not necessarily the recouping the money, which is important, but it's the fact that we're laying the baseline that, yes, you've made some mistakes, we've identified those mistakes, so now with a new franchise, here's where your mistakes were before. We'll make sure that you know that we're going to be watching, next agreement, let's make sure we don't have these issues, things like that.
Yeah, and I guess my biggest concern is that's a terrible way to do business, that we have to monitor them or police them. And when we get our new agreement, we got to have a printout every year. This is ridiculous to get to this point and have to go back 3 years or something. And I don't really think it's that hard to figure out. They get so many customers a year. Some are cable, some are internet, some are phone. There's probably going to be a basic balance number off however many customers they have a year. So I feel weird that we have to police them to do business with them. And I would like them to assure us that this is going to get better when we do that next agreement. And I also, would argue a little bit. We've made our point. We've done our audit now. I'm not so sure we should continue on and find another 5,000, and it costs us 3 or 4 to find it. We've made our point now. Just a suggestion. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
No, I think it's important we do have the second. I think it's important we do have the second audit. We started the process, this continues it, this ends it, and we will find more money, and it lays the basis for future negotiations that we can use in our argument, so.
I mean, when we're starting to deal with those big corporations like that, we got to use all the ammunition we can because we're a small fish in the sea.
I think
So,
you're right, but I also think it's kind of sad we got to do
Yeah,
business
I mean,
that way.
unfortunately, it's what's happening out there in the corporate world today, and
Right.
cities are held hostage by a lot of government policies that come down from higher than just the state and the Fed. I mean, it comes down from the Fed level a lot of times, and they hold us hostage down here at this level. So, with that, if there's no further discussion, the chair will take a motion to approve the cable franchise fee audit as presented and recommended by the Cable Commission.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Morris, second by Merle. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, that brings us up to reports. Mr. Maroney.
Just one thing to report to the council tonight. Earlier today, I attended the county commissioners' board meeting in Red Wing regarding their decision with respect to the Lake Billsby Regional Park, Milltown's Trail extension to Cannon Falls. This was, I believe, probably the third official time that this item had been before the county commissioners on their agenda. And happy to report to Cannon Falls and to the council and to the public that the county board did vote in favor of expending about $254,000 to assist with land acquisition for the extension of the Milltowns Trail and pedestrian bridge to Cannon Falls. So if you see any of the commissioners, it wouldn't be the worst thing to thank them. This project has been in the works for a long, long time. But I think at this point, with their support, that it sure looks like that project's going to go ahead. The bridge will be built and the connection will be made to Cannon Falls. So I think that's a good thing. That's all I have.
Good job, Dave.
Brenda? Justin?
Yes, I'm happy to report tonight, despite maybe possible unforeseen problems, the library should be complete according to schedule, so somewhere 1st of January. And at that point, we're thinking the library will actually be open and ready for business around the 1st of March. So we're excited about that. And another opportunity this weekend, hopefully they will have the scaffolding down in front of the building so you can actually see the brick front that's finally complete.
I was going to ask you about that.
It should be down. And the building will not be green, it will be a brick front.
I thought it was going to be gift wrapped or something. Thanks, Justin. Chief?
Just a few things. You know, the superintendent spoke of the efforts that we've done with the schools on their security for at least probably the last 4, maybe 5 years. We've worked with them on their security committee in trying to put together plans and processes to make their buildings more secure. We've also done that with some of our businesses in town as well. And I just wanted to, make the council aware and any other businesses in the community. We're certainly available to work with them, either on specific problems that they may be having, or in the broader general context of, security and that type of thing. We've got some very good staff on our department that we can call on for resources to meet with them, as well as myself. And, the events of last week, none of us that were planning our training could have envisioned that the day we picked was in between 2 mass shootings. But, as I emailed the hospital and the ambulance and the school on Friday, I'm very confident that, should something like that happen, my staff, their staff, all are well trained and we'll be able to deal with it in a very professional manner. And even if there is tragedy in the outcome, everybody will do just as they've been trained. So that's all I have on that. We're coming into Christmas week, then into New Year's. Our next council meeting will be after New Year's, so I just want to remind everybody that is going to be traveling, drive safely. This time of year, pack a winter kit for your car, some food, candle, survival blankets are always a good thing. They don't take up a lot of space, but if you get stranded, stay with your vehicle rather than walking away. That's all I have.
Thank you. Karen?
Well, the only thing I would have is I'd like to thank the council and then staff and those that are here just for what I think was another successful year for the city as we kind of wrap up with our last council meeting. I think we've had a lot of positive progress. A lot of good things happened, and I'm very proud of that. And like I said, I want to thank the council and staff for all that, and wish everybody a happy holidays.
And we're glad that you're not going anywhere.
Yep.
Linnell? Merle?
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. Be safe.
I'd like to thank Beth for coming in and everything she's done for her kids. And Phil, it's been fun working with you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
Leroy, the roasting was last week, but it's still your turn.
Just go with happy holidays.
Yes, Merry Christmas, and I'd like Dave to mention just very quickly a few of the EDA accomplishments in the last couple months. Just briefly.
If I leave any out, maybe Bill or Morris can
Well,
add.
just because I want the people to know about some of the cities moving forward, but with the EDA on new businesses in town. Just a few of them.
Artorg, the purchase of the former bowling alley, that project did close a week and a half ago, and they're moving forward with restoration and renovation of that project. The Quick Stop convenience store, we've issued a loan, and that loan has been closed and taken care of, so they're moving forward. We're working now with the Olmsted Medical Clinic on the making provisions for the road extension that we've talked about through the Planning Commission since that project has been approved, and that's going forward, and I think will be accomplished soon. We've signed a purchase agreement recently for the sale of 45 acres of land in the industrial park to World Food Processing. It looks like that land transaction will close yet before the end of the year with some good luck, if not the end of this year, the early part of next year. So we're excited about that, and we'll continue to work with World Foods on their building project, which will begin next year, 2013.
Casey's going in.
Casey's has applied for and received a building permit for the demolition phase of their project, so they have purchased the site. They will go ahead, if not starting this year, certainly next year, so that's moving forward. Lawrence Meats, Organic Valley Co-op, that project's well underway. We, as an EDA, ended up selling 18 acres of land to facilitate that project, and that's going full steam ahead at this point. Gemini is completing building number 5. We've been working with them to put together some development expansion possibilities beyond this particular phase in the future, and we certainly hope that they take advantage of those, maybe even starting as soon as next year. So they're moving forward. What else?
That's enough, I think.
Yeah, it's been busy for the EDA.
No,
and
you should be congratulated. That's a nice record. That's a good record.
And I know really on behalf of the EDA, Bill and Morris can speak for themselves, but I think with all the support that we've gotten from the council too on these and the planning commission, that's been of great help, because parts of all these projects have come before the council at various stages. Parts of these projects have come before the EDA, and parts of the projects have come before the planning commission. Some have come before all 3 of those groups. So it's been busy, and I really do think next year we're working on some projects now that are very exciting too, and I think things are on a roll right now, and we'll keep at the EDA working with them.
Yeah, I think the next 2 years we'll see some substantial growth, especially on the south end of the city when the interchange is finished and hospital and everything else. So we're pretty excited as far as the EDA is concerned.
Yeah, it's taken a lot of years, but everything has come together. So, and Dave has done a great job. I mean,
yes,
administration in that. So, you gotta be proud.
Very good. Merry Christmas.
Fun, thank you.
Mercy, anything else? Just like to say, with everything that's been going on over the last year, it's been a great last 2 years. Some of us here are finished up a term, and some of us will be sworn in again next month for another term. And we do have one council member that'll be leaving us, and we'll talk about him again here in a minute. We might even talk about him after he leaves, but no. But anyway, just back on the stuff in Newtown. Sunday night I sat down and I found the email. They don't really have a city council. They have what they call selectmen that basically help run the town with their folks there. So I found the email addresses and emailed all 3 of them just to let them know that the folks in Cannon Falls are thinking about them and send our condolences, that if there's anything we could do to let us know. It was a situation that makes people stop and think. A lot of us, even if we don't have small kids anymore, we work with small kids. We've got nieces and nephews that are small. And it's just a shame that something like this had to happen. And I think things will go. People will be a little bit more vigilant in the future, and hopefully we can try to prevent some of these things in the future. And also, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Look forward to working with everybody again over the next couple of years. And I really thank everybody for a great job that they've done this last year. Cannon Falls is moving forward, and that's what we hope to accomplish going forward from here. And with that, Phil? This isn't your first tour of duty here on the City Council, but this is just a little token of our appreciation to say thank you for your years of service to the City of Cannon Falls.
Well, thank you. It's very nice of you. Very kind of you.
Cool.
I'd like to say I didn't expect this. It's very nice, and I appreciate it a great deal. I will keep this and remember it. I just hope that in the future there'll be more people trying to get on the council. For people who are interested in small-town government and human nature, it's a great listening observation post. And I enjoyed my council term the first time, and even more the second time. And no small part due to the people I worked with. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Phil. And if there's nothing else, the chair will take a motion to adjourn.